have Professor Ranbir Singh ministers. Professor Ranbir Singh is an institution. He is an institution builder. First time I saw him in Nalsara in 90s. From then onwards, I have been meeting him in different occasions as a teacher, as an administrator, as an expert. So the enthusiasm shown by Professor Ranbir Singh in 1997 and 98 is the same today what he has. So yesterday in Mahendra University, Justice Lakur and Professor Vivekananda and Professor Ranbir Singh attended one conference, and they also released the book of Professor Madhavbhusri Sridhar on Constitution. So Professor Ranbir Singh called me. I am coming up to Hyderabad, so I had an unfinished task of teaching to the students. If you need, I will come. Then I thought it is a privilege for us to have Professor Ranbir Singh ji. So, as we know, from Kurukshetra University, Ranbir Singh sir went to National University, Bangalore. He was visiting professor there. Then he was elevated as Vice Chancellor of Nalsara for 10 years. Then another 10 years for Delhi National University, and he is also member Sri Krishna Commission. And when I applied for BRS2 for Andhra University Law College, he was an expert committee member. And he was also member for several committees regarding major research projects and various bar council programs, particularly NAC and all these. So now we have great opportunity to have Professor Ranbir Singh and have his expertise to be shared with us. So morning he took a class. Tomorrow also he wanted to address our students. So now he wanted to share his knowledge regarding learning about the law teaching. So as we know, law teaching has three methods recognized: lecturing method, problem solving method, case study method. So until 2000, we had lecturing method in India. So the question paper setup was changed, and even semester system was introduced around 2000. So there the pattern of question paper was changed, and short notes were given, and essay questions were given, and case study method or problem solving method. So in India we have this type of law teaching, and of course until 1980 the legal teaching, of course Professor Upendra Bakshi wrote an article in Supreme Court cases when Pradyumna MP Jain, Pradyumna Jain departed, and as a tribute to Pradyumna Jain, Upendra Bakshi wrote an article where he discussed the evolution of law teaching in India, how the law was evolved. And in Supreme Court cases, another important article of Advocate Soli Sorabji, the junior to Nani Palkiwala. When Nani Palkiwala died, as a tribute to Nani Palkiwala, Soli Sorabji wrote an article. In order to understand the evolution of legal profession in India, we can read that article. So there different methods South model, Madras model, Bombay model, Varanasi model, like our Hindu Methakshara schools, different sub-schools. So legal teaching in India was also imparted by different professors in different quarters of the country. So where ultimately they had a common understanding in 1978 with Indian Law Institute collaboration, Nagpur University Law Department conducted a seminar on the issues of the Constitution, where all these legal luminaries wrote articles and participated. So in 1980 also, Indian Law Institute uh, took up a challenge whether the legal education is a doctrinal study or a non-doctrinal method is to be adopted. So the research methodology, legal research methodology was for the first time discussed by Indian Law Institute expertise, and Indian Law Institute brought a book on the research areas on which the law teachers or legal researchers have to take up. So from that beginning, now we reached the stage of 2025 that now it is multidisciplinary approach. Socio-legal study, political economic, political legal study, economic and legal study, and socio-legal study. So different social sciences were taken into consideration in the study of law teaching. So a law teacher cannot be a good law teacher without a good research qualities. A legal researcher cannot be a good legal researcher without having a pedagogical skills. So I welcome Professor Ranbir Singh to our DSNLU teaching faculty, and I request him to share his knowledge with our teaching faculty.
As your professors, no formal training we have in teaching. And even in the school, when they go for teaching, there are formal sessions where we are trained how to prepare a course plan, how to teach, what are the various teaching methods. But we don't have a system in college or universities of that kind. At the most, what can be there is that if the vice chancellor or dean is a nice person, he or she will take you to the class, introduce you, and then leave you to the class. Whether you succeed or you fail. I was in a very difficult situation. After the class, I came to my senior teacher, who was very dear to me, Dr. S.D. Sharma, and said, "Sir, this is what happened to me in the class." So he asked me, how did you teach? I said, "I did like this." He said, "No, when you teach, also note down important points on the board, and then also explain them. If you don't explain them, otherwise your material will finish in maybe not even 40 minutes, it will finish in 30 minutes." So there I started thinking that probably there are certain ways in effective teaching. And that was the reason that somewhere long back I prepared this presentation for the benefit of the faculty and the students. I'll leave this presentation with you, and we'll see how it goes. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Ultimately, it depends on our thinking. Whether you want to be a good teacher, or you want to be a bad teacher, or you want to be a very good teacher or good researcher, it is all in our mind. I cannot teach anybody. I can only make them think. Sometimes we are mistaken that we teach so and so. We teach students. The best part, as far as the teacher is expected, is that you teach in a way that you make them think. It's not a kind of a rote learning. How learning would happen through thinking. That is the most important thing in a classroom. Sometimes you put up walls not to keep people out. Somebody said very beautifully, but to see who cares enough to break them down. See, whatever we teach, can we see beyond that? Like somebody said about Article 21, which is there in the Constitution of India, there some fundamental rights are written, and there is a long list of unwritten fundamental rights evolved during the years by the Supreme Court. So those are breaking the walls of the Article 21, a very small article, and finding out how many other fundamental rights can be read into Article 21? Now there is a long list. Now that's what is meant by breaking the walls. And then further, you also said, because it starts with not knowing is the only knowing. Sometimes, if you believe, you feel that you know everything, then the knowing stops. You will have the grace to know only when you think that there is lot more to learn. And the moment that stops, the knowing also stops. The teacher, Khalil Gibran said beautifully, the teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom but rather of his faith and his lovingness. If is indeed wise, he does not bid you enter the house of wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. This applies beautifully to the topic we are dealing in legal method. For example, when we start with the question as to what is law, then we get into all those 5 schools of jurisprudence. And as a teacher, what is my role? My role is to introduce them to all those schools approaches as far as the definition of law is concerned, and then leave it. I don't give my mind as to what I think about law or what, because I don't want to color their thinking. I leave it there and say, you think for yourself. What is the best method? What is the best approach? And then you can accordingly go with it. So you just take the threshold of your own mind. Otherwise, the thinking will stop. That's the beautiful thing said by Khalil. This we can leave, probably this is not required. This is for a different. According to the scholars on the issue, now mostly we are in the deposit making or banking education. That means we memorize a lecture and we sometimes said, it's not a good word, but they say we memorize the lecture, we vomit in the class. And what kind of feeling that would be, everybody understands how much interest it will generate in the students, in anybody's guess. So it is like a banking education that you deposit some money, and then whenever you need it, you take out that money. And but there is no dialogue. You treat students as objects. There is no creativity, and the learner is dehumanized because there is no challenge in the class. It is only monologue. There is no dialogue between the teacher and the student. And in this banking approach, the educator's role is to fill the student's mind with deposits of information you have. Information is everywhere. But the biggest challenge is how we convert that information to knowledge and then to wisdom. Now, that is the role of the teacher as far as teaching is concerned. As Vice Chancellor said, problem imposing education enables teachers and students to become subjects of the educational process. And this is very important. Overcoming authoritarianism, we face that, me and the Vice Chancellor. In our days, we will not dare to ask a question, ever. Because the teachers were so renowned, or they will come to the class, speak for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and pick up their registers, or somebody else will come, pick their register, and they'll go. And no interaction neither in the classroom nor outside. And I share my story when I was a student of jurisprudence. And I was taught by Professor U.C. Sarkar, one of the greatest teachers in India at that time. He did PhD from Dhaka, he was the first PhD. And from Chandigarh he came to Chhattisgarh to be the dean. He used to speak very, very softly. Of course, he used to sit on the first bench so that he is audible. And it was a yearly system, annual system. And when he will come, he will start teaching. After some months, one day he came to the class and said, the course of jurisprudence is finished. And with that, Ranbir Singh was also finished. I don't know even in ABC of what jurisprudence is. I even never knew what is jurisprudence. Because we never dared to ask questions from the teachers. The dialogue was not there. And even beyond classrooms, you could not dare to go to the class. And if at all somebody got up and said, they will say, sit down. No, they will not promote asking questions in the class. That was, now it's different, very different. So that's how Vedanta says that within man or women is all knowledge. Even a boy, it is so, it requires only an awakening. Oh, Ramdevara only, what we should call it. Everybody needs an awakening in the class. That means you prompt students to ask questions. Question you, you question the students, and in that process of questioning and cross-questioning, the knowledge happens. Otherwise, if there is no dialogue, learning will not happen. It will become a rote learning. The teacher will come, speak, and go, and without bothering whether you understood it or you never understood it, or whether it came to your hand or it never came to your hand. So, like it's just like you can't teach a child any more than you can grow a plant. Do we teach any child in our house to what language he or she will speak? Do we ever do it? क्या आप हिंदी बोलिए, तेलुगु बोलिए, तमिल बोलिए, no? They learn being with us. If they are sent to some other household, they'll pick up that language. So it is exactly that. See, knowledge should be like how the students can, being with the teacher, can learn, and that will be more clear when we. Our job is only to remove the obstacles, right? We grow a plant, and we have no authority that we see that the plant becomes a tree tomorrow, bear fruit and also flowers. It will not happen because it will take its own time. So our job is only to secure it, to provide fencing, seed, grow, provide it all kind of better environment. That's what we are doing there. All kind of facilities, best of teachers, best of library, best of research facilities, and then they grow slowly with us. And that's the reason they educate themselves. This also we can do. Now, one day in the class when I was teaching little method, suddenly it came to my mind that what qualities you look in for a teacher. Because sometimes we also believe that these are the qualities which a teacher will look into the student. Student ऐसे होने चाहिए. They should be very disciplined. They should be serious in the class. They should take notes, come with pen and copies, and not be on the mobile phones or all that kind of expectations. So I suddenly asked the students, what qualities you look in a teacher? And see the list. They said, somebody who will enthuse us. We never faced that situation. Somebody who will enthuse us, motivate us in a classroom. Very good. Say, sometime when we ask questions, student answer would be not that right, or may not be up to your expectation. Say, no, sit down, this is wrong. Normally, what happens is that we never say wrong. We rather say, can we put it differently? Can this be answered like this? Just to motivate the student, otherwise the student will not ask questions. Next time, nobody will get up. Caring attitude. Now, teachers should have time to have a caring attitude for the students. Now, you might be thinking, what is the caring attitude? Sometimes you find some student very gloomy. He is not in his or her usual self, and you tend to ask, is there something wrong with you? And you say that, can you see me after the class is over? When you meet the student, then you come to know there are problems in the family. Somebody is sick, or somebody has died in the family. He was the only soul that other. And there are those who live in the hostels. There are multiple kind of problems students face. So it is our duty to sometimes find if somebody is looking gloomy or not looking that interested in the class, probably instead of saying something against, we say, can we meet after the class and discuss with them that what is wrong with you? Can they help you in any way? Can the institution help you in any way? And in law schools, there have been occasions that I know from Hyderabad and Delhi. There were occasions when we paid the fees of students for only 5 years. Because the only bread earner was the father. And if the father is not there, there is nobody else. So we normally ask if you face problems, you can tell us, we will take care of it. And we used to take care of it. Because once they join us, the responsibility, we are parents in place of the biological parents. So it is our duty to take care of them. It happens. I give you a very, very interesting example. When I started Nalsar in Hyderabad, and the test was taken in some places, Delhi, 2 students appeared. I told my wife that instead of I send somebody from Hyderabad, why don't you come to Delhi University and conduct this examination? She was also in teaching, English literature. So she came, both the students qualified, Siddharth Mahajan and another girl, Shivani Chopra. I remember their name also. So Siddharth Mahajan joined me, he was from Himachal Pradesh, and Shivani, she said, sir, I am not replying. I said, can I speak to your father? I spoke to her father, he said, sir, I have got 2 daughters. The other one is very intelligent, she is brighter than Shivani, and she is planning to go to medical. And I can't afford the expenses of both the girls that I send them to hostels. And so I have to make a sacrifice. So I have decided that Shivani, I will keep here in Lucknow, she will join a college, and the other girl I will probably try for her. Then there was a crisis. I went to my Chief Justice, who was the Chancellor, Justice Banerjee at that time, in Andhra Pradesh. I said, sir, I faced a peculiar problem. One girl is not able to pay the fees, and she is not able to join us. And I was in the first batch. We should give some clear signals that we are a different kind of sensitive institution where we take care of students. And I said, I will take care of the monthly fee and pay, no problem. Then he said, immediately called some 4 or 5 senior lawyers and judges. And he said, can you give me post-graduate checks for 5 years for this girl? And we will give it to the Vice Chancellor so that she will not face any problem in terms of finances. She was with us for 5 years, completed her studies, went to Canada to do her LLM. She is professor in some Canadian university now. The life was done. It's all about leadership sometimes, being sensitive, and that's what I meant by caring. If I will also not bother, she can't pay the fee, fine. If she can't pay, I can't pay. But somewhere Vice Chancellor gives that role where we have these students, and I am not forgetting this girl. I'm sure she will never forget what the institution did for us, for her. Then there should be a sense of humor. I have seen when I was a student, some teachers were very stony faced. And we used to be scared of it. Mr. Puri will come, Professor Puri will come to the class, or some SK Singh will come to the class. You dare not say anything, or move your head. They were so strict, very, very strict. Forget about asking questions. So, but I think real learning happens when you have sense of humor. You maintain discipline. I'm not saying that you are cutting jokes all the time, but have sense of humor. Come with a smiling face to the classroom, so that atmosphere is more congenial for learning. Then you have dedicated a commitment to teaching. Somewhere you prepare so well, whatever method you teach, that the students are convinced that our teacher is very hard. And beyond the books which are prescribed, she will or he will get into articles or latest what is done in the newspapers, so update kind of thing as far as the law is concerned, and that really helps. Good organization. How do you organize your class? Some teachers have a tendency, sorry to say this, identifies with boys and girls. And they are all the time focused on some boys or some girls. Every time they have asked a question, they will be identifying, or they are asking some batch of students, those who are bright maybe, or there may be some good looking sometimes, and not the others. And in our classes, we have a very diverse population. We are Indians. We live in 6 lakh villages, and people come from all kinds of backgrounds. Some people cannot speak their 2 languages. They don't have that much of confidence. In reservation, there are students who is a different category. Rather, our responsibility is more towards that class, where they suffer from this disadvantage, where there is a deficit of skill, there is a deficit of knowledge, deficit of other facilities. Our responsibility is more towards those students. And those who come from well-off families, we of course take care of them, but the responsibility is not much. Accessibility. Many times, I was Vice Chancellor for a long time in the law school, I have seen teachers are not accessible. I have a class from 9 to 4 or whatever, and then there is lunch break. Teachers are just not available. And in a subject which you teach, or for some other reason, the students will say that, sir or madam, I would like to meet you, I have some problem. And you say, no, I'm very busy, I have got classes, and then I have to evaluate question papers, and then I have to immediately leave at 4 o'clock. We have also family responsibility. उनको भाषण भी साथ में दे देते हैं. So in that case, there is a problem. The students must have access to the teachers, and maybe you don't give much time. Even if you give 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that would be enough. But have some time for the students, and then innovative teaching methods that will listen later on, and it should be a comprehensive study pattern. By this I mean, because students have to do seminar papers, they have to research papers. You should be able to guide them how to go to a library, how to find the research material, how to find cases, where the articles will be located, those kind of things, so that beyond classroom, when you do them project, and they have to write a project with you, you guide them properly so that they can write a good project with you. So this is very important. Use of variety of teaching aids, that also we will discuss later on. Periodic feedback. When you have been teaching for some time, maybe 1 month or 2 months, suddenly ask them, stop. Suddenly ask them, भाई समझ में आ रहा है आपकी जो मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ? Are you following what I'm teaching? Am I slow? Am I fast? Or my expression is something where I'm difficult, they would provide you, will tell you whether you need to change how you teach. And that's very important. Information about assessment requirements. You should know how to assess the students. Whether, I don't know what is your system, whether it is a continuous assessment, whether you have a mid-semester, whether you have seminar papers, or you have to write an MSA or do some research and then make research presentations. That is very important. You should be confident. If the teacher is not confident in the class, then probably what will happen to the students, you know, modest. Even if you are very knowledgeable, you should be modest. Because the first quality of teacher is to be modest. If you ever talk to Professor Bakshi, I don't know whether he came here or online or whatever, he is very tough with the senior teachers. Younger teachers, he is very nice. He will be very happy with the younger teachers and infuse them like anything. So modesty is very, very important for a teacher, and must respect students. Sometime over some day, we are unhappy with the student in the classroom. My experience is never join any kind of issue with a student in the classroom. Don't think that only you have respect. Students think they have more respect than you, because if they are disrespected in front of their colleagues, they will certainly irritate you. People say students are singly, shy, collectively rowdy. So if some student will not behave properly in the class, he or she asks them to see you after the class, and then you can say whatever you like, they will listen to you, but not in the class. Because we have no right to disrespect them in the classroom. So must respect students and flexibility. Don't be too rigid. Be flexible in terms of your attitude. Sometimes we have to be flexible to be kind to the students. Good communication skills. I found some teachers, they are not like I had in my example of a very renowned professor. He was not audible beyond 3-4 benches. Forget the whole class. Because the classes won't have mics. Classes won't have mics. And it is not possible to hear him. And you don't have the guts to tell the teacher, sorry, sir, you are not audible. Now we have different kind of classrooms, semi-circular. It is a theatrical classroom. It becomes very difficult to reach to the students at the back. And you never know what they are doing. Are they on mobile phone, or they are on the laptop, what they are doing? Nobody knows. So then it becomes a difficult thing. Good communication skills are very important to keep every student concentrate on what you are teaching in the class. Fairness. You have to be very, very fair. Like what we do in the examinations in NLUs we used to do. Once there is examination and it has been evaluated, we give the copies to every student. We give the copies to every student and say, if you have to discuss anything about your questions and the marks have been given by the teacher, you can come and discuss with the teacher. But you cannot say that why Ranbir Singh got more marks than Ranbir Singh. No, this will not happen. This is not done. The only thing you can say is, how can I improve? My marks in so, otherwise there will be a problem. You can only say that, how can I improve? I think probably in this question my marks are less. So madam or sir, will you explain to me what should I do? What should I improve? What is lacking in this question paper so that I get better marks? So that sense of fairness you inculcate in your students, probably that is very, very important for a teacher. Now there are 7 principles of good learning. Encourage contact between students and faculty. The more you encourage the contact between student and faculty, I will not deal too much in detail, but I will only concentrate on the heading. So how do you do that? How do you encourage the contact between the students and the faculty? We have multiple programs in the law schools or our institutions. We have moot courts, we have conferences, we have seminars, we can have quizzes, we can have debates. There are multiple activities where the contact between the student and the faculty, and they take a lot of interest. There are activities where students take too much of interest, and these are wonderful opportunities to get in contact with the students. Develop reciprocity, cooperation among students. Again, the same example. So there are activities which also develop reciprocity between the students. We said, I have seen that if there is a moot court competition, and if the moot court competition, sometimes we say that students of second year, third year are selected. I have seen they prepare on a topic which they have not never studied. A student of second year class is working on a competition problem, or an international law problem, or an international trade problem. And class, they may not take interest, but you see what kind of research they do. Because this is of their interest. And the kind of good work they do, the kind of voluntary communication, when we go to moot court competitions, they are amazing. And the kind of research work in the memorials is a fantastic thing. So we should have more and more of those kind of activities. We can have inter-class moot court competition, intra-class moot court competition. Teaching can be done through moot courts many times to make the class more interesting. So these are activities which make the teaching learning very, very interesting in a law school. Encourage active learning. Code wages is another activity. Internship is another activity where students are into outcome-based learning. We call it outcome-based learning. And when they get into the field, they learn. They can be asked to write a paper, and they can discuss it in the class, and we can give them internship in our case. The first year would be library placement, second year would be the placement in the NGOs. So when they go to NGO placement, they deal with all kinds of societal problems, destitute, women, children, begging, all kinds of problems they take up. And when they write their articles on that, present in the classroom, I saw some students broke out that we never knew that country is facing these kind of problems. So direct interface between the community and the law. So those kind of active learning is very, very important for any institution. Gives prompt feedback, and you can also take a feedback from the students whether the activities we are doing it provides you active learning, because the Bar Council also emphasizes on some practical courses, the clinical legal education we call it. Those subjects can be very, very useful for this kind of emphasize the time on task. Time management is very important for the faculty as well as for students. When you give them a project, be very cautious that you should be very clear what is the timeline means when you submit the rough draft, when you submit the final draft, and when your presentations will start. And you should be slightly firm on that. Maybe like in foreign countries, there is an online system of everything. If you don't submit by a particular date, it will not be accepted. But here we sometimes say we will cut your marks. That creates problem. So best is you say submit online, submit online. If you don't submit by 5 p.m. on so and so date, your project will not be accepted. So you will not be able to make the presentation. Then those kind of probably things. It's very important to teach them the importance of time. That is very important. Communicating higher expectations. Somewhere tell your students that we expect in any aspect of learning, teaching we do, our expectations are very high. Whether you go for moot court competition, whether you go for debates, or you go for quizzes, or you go for sports, or cultural festival, we'll give you our best, and you give your best to us. So that kind of two-way affair is very important. Respect diverse talents and ways of learning. We are too education centric. We are too bookish, actually, so if I make it correctly. But in the class, there are students those who are very good in sports. There are students those who are very good in dancing. There are students those who are very good in songs, singing songs, or they are very good in other activities. So everybody can't be the best in the studies. Students have different talents. So we must recognize those talents and sometimes learn to appreciate those talents in the class. Everybody will not be a scholar. Everybody will not be a scholar. But we should also appreciate the other talents in the students as well. That is very important. So for class management, motivation is very important. Sometimes you can break students in groups, and discipline and order is very important. Organizational aspects are important. Teaching aspects are important. Personal aspects are very important. Continuously, as I said, it is very important to interact with the students. Sometimes students have a lot of problems. There may be some family problem, or maybe you can meet a student. We have different mechanisms where the students can meet the teachers, meet the registrar, meet the vice chancellor, or any grievance resolution committee to find out what your personal problems are. And sometimes they are health related, sometimes they are family related, sometimes they are related with their peer groups. So those are very, very important to look into. Then these other things are important are be friendly with the students, but not very friendly. But not very friendly. See, we are friendly with our children. Most of us are friendly with our children, but we are not very friendly. We know our Lakshman Rekha, where we need to stop so that we don't exploit us. And we should be easily approachable. Work out the most effective mode of addressing students. Now this is for everybody to find out. There is no rules and principles for this, how you need to do it. Be firm and fair. Let justice appear to be done with the support of the class. Once you convey that whatever you do, all your actions will be just. You will not be unfair to anybody. Nobody is your favorite. Everybody is your favorite. And you will be fair to each and everyone in the class. I can tell you, they will respect you. You may be any amount of strict teacher, but I tell you, if you are a good teacher, beyond classroom, they say, so and so is wonderful. So ultimately, your reputation as a teacher is what kind of teacher are you? They don't mind you as being strict, but if you teach well, if you are well prepared, you help the students, you have your day, right? And establish close contact with classes by questioning. Monologue will not help. You go to the class, deliver a lecture, and forget. Try that whatever subject you teach, have a dialogue in the class. More and more discussion in the class. You can put questions of your own to the class and then ask them, how do you answer this? And if they don't answer, you can answer it on your own way. The idea is to involve them because by this process they concentrate on what you are teaching. Have respect for students. Sometimes they may be wrong, they may be very radical opinions, but listen to them carefully. You may not agree, but need not say anything in the class. But in your own way, you can sensitize them that probably your opinion is too radical, and that's how these things are important. Never snub. Be honest. Ask or answer the question. If anybody asks question during the class, even if it is a stupid question, never snub them. You say, can we discuss it after the class? Sometimes your question is important, but probably needs more time. We can meet after the class. Just to avoid that in the classroom. Always be well prepared. I heard one teacher saying that unfortunately I could not prepare my lesson today in the class of legal methods, micro history. Legal history, Prabhi. And nobody knew what I was teaching them. So that may not be fair. So be well prepared. If possible, sometimes I have seen teachers in the initial stage rehearsing in front of the mirror. No, that's how even artists do it. Very senior artists do it when they have to perform. A teacher's love and enthusiasm for subject is contagious. You like some subjects, you don't like some subjects. There was a teacher from Delhi University teaching with me, and he used to stay outside the campus, and he was given jurisprudence to teach. Unfortunately, in the Delhi University in the evening, those who were doing law in the evening, jurisprudence was optional, and the teacher was given jurisprudence to teach. A very technical subject, and the teacher will come 10 minutes late, go to bathroom, take another 5 minutes, open his almirah, again take 4-5 minutes, and then suddenly look at the watch. Oh, Singh, what is the time? And say it's already 20 minutes. So he will, I must rush to my class. Go to the class, and when he enters the class, say, okay, guys, what I was teaching yesterday. Say, sir, you are teaching this, and some students will answer, some students will not answer. He will get angry with the students, and within 15 minutes he will leave the class. And say, what is my use of being in the class when you are not well prepared? So God knows who is not well prepared. Whether the students are not prepared or the teacher is not well prepared. And I asked him back in 15 minutes what happened. No, students were not prepared. But I taught him yesterday and nobody answered me anything. So those kind of things probably not tolerant. Spot potential troublemakers. In the classroom, you find some students are naughty by nature. So regularly call them and sensitize them. That probably outside class is fine, but I'm not going to accept it in the classroom. Today I have not said you anything, but next time you do it, and you have it from me. You can be strict, any amount strict with such students. And the other thing which are important is always be very, very sensitive to the cultural background of the students. Because we have students who come from different cultural backgrounds of the society. We have students from reservation classes. People come from villages. There is a language problem. There is a skill deficit. There is a knowledge deficit. All kinds of deficits are there. They come from a different physical environment. There are different attitudes, different motivations, and there are physical and intellectual endowments. Sometimes we have students with disability. I have seen a number of students here, those suffer from a disability. I can tell you in my place, a copy of the presentation will be given to each and every teacher. And the various methods are lecture method, Socratic method, role play, case study, group discussions, tutorials, projects, widgets, library tutorials, cafeteria model, informal methods, blended learning and training, key education resources. Research and make a presentation of 15 minutes. I leave it to you. Which way you are, I did not explain it because this has to be done by teachers. So what is a lecture method? 15 minutes presentation. The way I make it. You may decide, one person may write, two may write, I don't mind. Two may write separately on the lecture method, that also I don't mind. But next time I want 1 month is enough. Now let me ask the teachers. Then I sit down and you present. You exercise every day.
January, beginning of the next semester is
January.
कोई बात. But then no excuses. That my father was not well, my mother was not well, my child was not well, my husband went to America. Those kind of things are not there.
You come forward.
One person who will take care of this. You and you, both of you prepare a list who is going to write on which and make a very, very honest presentation. Not half-hearted approach. The way I'm doing it. I'm not saying it's very good, but I'm trying to give you a kind of a model how you can do it. So I'm leaving this homework. This is the expectation. Now, Naidu, give me a list. Who is going to make presentation on which topics? One person can take even two topics, but do a good research. Do a good research, honest research with footnotes, everything. Not that you get into ChatGPT or Meta. I'm aware of that. I have access to all those things. So do a honest research. Write a good, so that and you will be very happy. And then finally, when you do it, we'll put it either in the form of a book. Will be the publication of DSNLU, or maybe kind of a journal. Now that I leave it to you or the Vice Chancellor, you decide, but it will be in the form of a publication published. Right. We'll give a good title to this. Is it okay? Yes. I'm not going to explain any of these titles. No,
Teacher will take one aspect of
one,
more
do
aspects.
whatever. I give freedom, full freedom. Maybe on lecture method, three teachers can write. I have no problem. But then you do your own research. And I have given you ample time. And let me also share with you, there are a lot of free resources available in the internet. E-media में बहुत resources available हैं. Teaching methods के ऊपर Australia especially has done a lot of good work. There are 250, 300, 400 pages book which is free access available. So there is a lot of material. One book was published by Patel, where I made the same presentation. One has been published by me and IILM, Teaching Methods and Learning and Research. One journal was published by Nagpur, the same presentation. So I am giving this assignment to you. There is a lot of material. So how will you prepare it is for you to do it now? Your homework. And these are the methods. I am not explaining it. Though I had prepared some material on that, I am leaving it. This is also there. The aim of teaching is not merely to increase the students' knowledge, but also to teach, develop, and enhance transferable personal skills in oral and written communication and self-presentation, teamwork, analysis, and problem solving, all applicable not only in the workplace but also in everyday life. Because we are preparing them to be good lawyers. And the three parameters are, as we put it differently, I say in every lecture, that three pillars of any institution for producing best of professionals is: number one, they should be technically sound; second, they should be professionally competent; and third, they should be socially relevant. Not that only that we produce robots. Somewhere we also produce good human beings. That is the idea. And in that list, you can also include AI. Role of AI includes nothing in teaching. AI I have not included there because it was prepared long back. You can add if you want. Any other method you can add. Finally, I will conclude by what Michelangelo said. If you want to learn something, you find this section there. The rodent thinker. And somebody asked rodent thinker, how do you produce statues that are so full of life? He replied, Michelangelo replied, the rough marble already contains these statues. It is a matter of extracting them. I believe in all our students, we have already a fine lawyer. Our job is to chisel it and bring it up. Thank you very much. So now your turn. Any questions you have? Anything you want to ask me? It's just a sketchy presentation. Give you some ideas probably. Within the class, beyond the class, and mainly I was.
First time in 2002,
That is
if you visit there in Nalsa, you can identify it. So from then I had an interest in Abraham Lincoln's letter.
wonderful. That's a very well written.
Yes.
Any questions? Any problem you face in the class, you need to share with me, or because I have discussed almost everything. We face inside, outside the class. All problems are with you actually. That is not our internal complaints committee and all those. All those are with you actually.
Only one thing we can see, sir, that when they submit projects, they are all in AI formats. So they have taken AI benefit and they are submitting the same to the teachers.
You can
That
prepare
I think,
guidelines. Best is prepare ethical guidance. Prepare ethical guidelines for any student or teacher for submitting a research project. That probably when you submit a project, this has to be avoided. Otherwise, we will not give you marks. And you can find, if you look into the internet, you will find there are regulations for submitting a project. And those regulations can be prepared by the university. And most of the universities have ethical policies. So you have your own ethical policy, IPR policy, whatever policies for. You can frame as many policies you want and let the students know it. That what is doable, what is not doable. What is allowed, what is not allowed. No. Tomorrow I deal with the student, share with them how to deal with the mental stress that you lost. What you need to do. Some handouts, have and handouts. So that lecture, anybody who would like to come, any faculty who would like to come, what time do you have in the morning?
Afternoon, sir.
Afternoon. Yeah. Morning is the lecture. So no questions for me? Because I'm reminded that nobody allowed me to ask questions. So I now try that I give maximum opportunity to people to ask questions. I think your time is up, 4:30 or up to, your class is up to 4:30?
Yes.
4 o'clock. Half an hour. 5 o'clock. So we finish on time. Thank you very much for your time and listening very, very carefully to me and not asking questions. Not asking questions. Thank you. Thank you very much. But I'm very serious about it.
Yes.
Yes.
The homework which I have given you, no lunch is free.
That can be.
And I don't want to spare even senior teachers. Let me make it very clear. It's for everyone.
Those can be brought into the publication and
They can decide.
DSNLU.
It can be in the form of a book or in the form of a
So that's a good initiative.
I think the best will be the book. It will be best in the form of a book, about 200, 300 pages book. And it will be published in a useful. And then conduct the faculty development program on this for teachers. You have a lot of faculty, private institutions here. Those teachers don't know what to do, and they will be very happy to look into this. And another topic can be role of library in learning and research. E-learning have taken control of library is also very important. Once somebody can write on role of library. Maybe sometime I make a presentation on role of library also. And even critical thinking. So that is also. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.